Glory to Jesus, honor to Mary, our mother. The responsorial psalm we just read sounds very interesting and informative. O Lord, you have been a refuge from one generation to the next. Other scripture versions will say, in every age, O Lord, you have been our refuge. This, together with the first reading, reminds us again that God has the ultimate knowledge of the world, and He knows us through and through. Only God knows us thoroughly. He knows our today, He knows our tomorrow, He knows our next tomorrow, and in fact, He knows our forever. He knows our future generation, and He has a complete knowledge of how He can direct the affairs of our generation. The first reading asked a very important question. Who can know God's counsels? Who can understand His plans? Unlike God, the plans of humans are timid, short-lived, and unsure, and scarcely can we guess the things on earth. And even what is within our grasp, we find it difficult to understand. None of us knows exactly what will happen in the next second, nor what will happen in the next minute. What does this mean for us? It calls us to trust God, who teaches and directs our lives. By this, it means that it will be a waste of time to try to understand the now. Worse still, to understand the future. In fact, the greatest source of worry of any human being will be to understand the future. That will be the greatest assignment anybody can undertake. The second verse of the responsorial psalm of Psalm 90 prayed that God may teach us that we may gain wisdom of heart. And the only right wisdom that is very important is the wisdom of trust in God, who alone is our refuge. In the second reading, St. Paul wrote a letter to his son, Onesimus, and it reminds us of the fact that all of us are children in the sight of God, and we should follow and understand God as a father. It is always important to relate with God as our Father, just like a child in the home trusts the judgment, the decision, and the protection of his father and mother. And in the gospel, it gave an answer of how we can trust God more. We are encouraged in that gospel to die to ourselves, to die to our limited knowledge, to die to our positions, and to die to our relationships, but to trust God and believe Him all the time, in all circumstances and in all ages. Sometimes we worry sick about the future of our families, the future of our children, and other loved ones we have. It is good, very good, to plan for the future of our family, yes. But as we plan, the gospel calls us to hand over such plans to God. It is important to note that when Jesus in the gospel said that we must come to Him hating our fathers, mothers, wife, and children and siblings, He never meant that we hate our loved ones in terms of emotional response. Instead, Jesus was calling all of us to have an undivided loyalty to Him above family loyalties, which for me means that every decision in the home and outside the home has to be God-centered. On another note, dear friends, sometimes we seem not to understand what is happening in our lives. in our families or in the lives of our loved ones, it gives us a sour and bitter feeling. At such times, we cannot fully understand nor think of any solution to these challenges, but the only option remains that in all ages, in all generations, and in all times, running back to God, who alone knows perfectly the foundation of our lives, the foundation of anybody who we are worried about. Be it our child, be it our partner, be it our husband, wife, children, whoever it is, a friend. Only God knows the foundation of the life of everybody. And going back to God, who is the author and finisher of every project of every human being, He is the only one that has the answer. And so, just like in the responsorial psalm, in every age and generation, God remains our refuge. And He is the only one that has every answer. He is the only one that knows us through and through. Any plan outside of His is futile.